If I Were in Charge of the World is a first-person narrative. Who is telling the narrative? How do you know? The poem is told by a narrator in first-person point of view. That means the person telling the story is a character in the poem. The narrator is inside the poem. Where is the narrator? What does the narrator like? What does the narrator dislike? Now let's look at page 60 and We Real Cool. We Real Cool is also a first-person narrative told by one of the 7 pool players that dropped out of school. How do you know? Is the narrator inside or outside of the poem? What is the tone at the beginning of the poem? When does the tone change? The tone quickly changes to solemn when referring to death. What is the narrator's point of view on education in each poem? Now let's talk about the audio version of We Real Cool. Which version was more entertaining, the audio or the print? Which version was easier to understand? What did you get from the audio version that you did not get from your reading? Now let's look at page 62. An effective strategy for monitoring your comprehension is to share a summary about what you read using concise words rather than going on and on with a string of details. The IVF topic sentence provides a format that is an effective way to begin a summary. First, let's identify the title of the first poem and record it in the first column. Next, I will choose a strong verb from the verb bank. I'll choose the verb presents. Finally, I need to finish my thought. So our title of our first poem is If I Were in Charge of the World. And I'm going to go ahead and widen that to make it easier to see, a little bit easier to see at least. And as I said, I'm going to do the verb presents. And then I'm going to finish off my thought with changes that a child would make if he had the authority. So my sentence, my IVF sentence for the first poem is, if I were in charge of the world, presents changes that a child would make if he had the authority. So now I want you to complete an IVF sentence for We Real Cool.